On Friday, February 28, 2025, Donald Trump clashed with Volodymyr Zelensky in a furious, raised voice spat at the White House, with the U.S. president telling his Ukrainian counterpart to make a deal with Russia, or we are out. The pair interrupted each other repeatedly in front of the media during what was supposed to be a prelude to the two leaders signing a minerals deal. The exchange sent shockwaves across the world, casting doubts over efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war. The U.S. President and Vice President J.D. Vance openly berated Zelensky for not being thankful, and later accused the Ukrainian leader of not being ready for peace and having disrespected the United States in the cherished Oval Office. He also accused Zelensky of gambling with millions of lives and suggested his actions could trigger World War III. Not long after the meeting, and well ahead of the pre-planned schedule, Zelensky was seen leaving the White House in his official vehicle. Here's what happened.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
I'm not playing cards.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
a lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
if
you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course.
Also, here's how both Trump and Zelensky commented on this heated exchange in follow-up interviews.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that If we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight, fight, fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple.
No, first of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raise this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop, have to be just to guarantee that they are with Europeans. Look at Europe, it's strong, it became stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. That is the question from all our people.
European Union leaders were swift and unanimous in their condemnation of Trump's behavior, framing it as a betrayal not just of Ukraine, but of the very principles that underpin Europe's post-war order. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Council President Antonio Costa issued a joint statement urging Zelensky to stand firm, declaring that Ukraine would never be alone. The European Union's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, went even further, calling for Europe to prepare to take the lead in defending the free world, openly questioning whether America could still be trusted as the West anchor. This was not just rhetoric. It was the sound of a tectonic shift, with Europe contemplating a future where it might have to secure peace and stability without its oldest ally. French President Emmanuel Macron struck a similarly defiant tone, reminding the world that Russia was, and always had been, the aggressor. In language that barely concealed his contempt for Trump's framing of the war, Macron suggested that if anyone was dragging the world toward catastrophe, it was Vladimir Putin, not Volodymyr Zelensky. In Berlin, Germany's likely next Chancellor Friedrich Merz and outgoing Chancellor Olaf Scholz both reinforced this message, standing shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine. Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock invoked Europe's own painful history, arguing that Ukraine's fight for peace and security was inseparable from Europe's own survival. Yet not all voices in Europe were aligned. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who has long walked a tightrope between loyalty to NATO and friendship with both Trump and Putin, broke ranks. Orban applauded Trump for what he described as courageous truth-telling, praising him for pushing for peace at any cost. For Orban, strawmen make peace, and in his view, Trump had just shown the world what strength looks like. This divided response highlighted a deeper fracture within Europe itself, exposing the uncomfortable reality that some European Union leaders quietly share Trump's exhaustion with the war, even if they fear admitting it publicly. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, sensing the potential unraveling of Western unity, issued a desperate plea for an emergency summit between the United States, the European Union, and other key allies. Her warning was stark: Any fracture in the West only empowers its enemies. Malone's statement, while diplomatic on the surface, reflected an urgent undercurrent of anxiety rippling across European capitals. Could the West truly afford to fall apart at this critical juncture? And if the United States abandoned Ukraine, would Europe have the strength, militarily, economically, and politically, to fill the void? From Warsaw to London, Ukraine's closest allies rushed to perform damage control. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk assured Ukrainians that they were not alone, while British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, preparing to host Zelensky in London, reiterated Britain's unwavering commitment to a peace grounded in Ukraine's sovereignty. Even Canada, separated by an ocean from the conflict, reaffirmed that Ukraine's fight was not just its own, but a stand for global freedom itself. But while Western democracies scrambled to contain the fallout, Moscow's reaction was one of unrestrained glee. Russian officials, state media, and Kremlin-aligned commentators treated the Oval Office confrontation as vindication of everything they had claimed since the first day of the invasion. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova mocked Zelensky's humiliation, marveling at Trump's supposed restraint for not physically throwing him out. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev was even more blunt, calling Zelensky an insolent pig who had finally been put in his place. For Moscow, the spat was more than just entertainment. It was a strategic gift, proof that the West was cracking under the weight of its own contradictions. From Zelensky's perspective, the clash with Trump was not just a diplomatic setback, but a potentially existential threat to Ukraine's survival. For over 3 years, Zelensky's entire strategy had depended on unwavering Western support, especially from Washington. Losing that lifeline, or even seeing it weaken, would leave Ukraine dangerously exposed at precisely the moment Russia was regrouping for a new offensive. The message sent to Kiev was brutal. In America's new calculus, Ukraine's fate was no longer a strategic priority, but a nuisance to be resolved, regardless of the cost to Ukrainians themselves. For the European Union, the spat underscored a long-feared reality. Europe could no longer take American leadership for granted. The era of automatic transatlantic solidarity was over. Europe now faced a grim choice: either step up as the primary guarantor of Ukraine's security or watch helplessly as a Trump-Putin backchannel reshaped the continent's borders. For the European Union, this was not just a challenge to its foreign policy, but a test of its very identity. Could Europe forge a common defense policy powerful enough to deter Russia without American muscle? Could the European Union's famously slow decision-making process withstand the urgency of war? These questions, once theoretical, had now become terrifyingly real. The way forward is fraught with uncertainty. If Trump follows through on his threat to abandon Ukraine, the entire architecture of Western security, built painstakingly since 1945, could collapse in months. If Europe cannot swiftly unite behind a new strategy, Putin will be handed his greatest victory without firing a single extra shot. But the greatest danger may come from within. A divided West, where old alliances crumble under the weight of nationalist agendas, leaving not just Ukraine, but the entire democratic world vulnerable to its enemies. In this moment, the future does not belong to the loudest voice in the room, but to those willing to pay the price for peace. Will anyone step up before it's too late? Your perspective matters. What do you make of this fiery exchange between Trump and Zelensky and its implications? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our current affairs channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.